Hello, 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 hello. It is another day. It is, what day is it? It's Thursday. It's Thursday. It's another stream day, of course. Welcome back, Hustler. Immediately clicking on the link, it seems, or already waiting. Hope you enjoyed your day. You know, hopefully it was a good day. Maybe sunny day. Maybe there was some rain. Doesn't really matter as long as it was a good day. Yeah, welcome. Today we do what we've done the last 2 days. We're gonna begin with the good old 30-minute quick sketch, and then we're gonna continue with the Reaper figurine creation, basically. We started on Monday, so now we are basically, today we will finish the body, basically, the model. The plan will be to begin by, I guess, adjusting the proportions, making him, I guess, look more agile rather than like a super muscular bodybuilder. Make him look more like a gymnast, for example. But yeah, just to kind of fit his role a little bit more. He's not like a tank in the game. In Final Fantasy, the new Reaper class, it's more like a DPS. Moving fast and doing a lot of attacks, I guess you could say. Which means he still needs some power, but he wouldn't be the person standing in front of whatever you're fighting and tanking all the damage, So we're basically adjusting the proportions, and then afterwards, which shouldn't take super long, afterwards we will go to the hands. The hands we haven't done yet. We've done the feet. The feet were quite simple. We could probably walk some more on those, but they're not really visible in the end, so who cares. But what will be visible are the hands. So we need to, first of all, of course, add the hands, which we're going to do today. We're going to add the hands from scratch. We're going to sculpt them from scratch, going through the entire process, of course. Yeah, so that today in the end we have hands on hopefully the fully finished basically body model, so that we can then probably tomorrow go into retopology, going over that. If we can probably not finish the retopology tomorrow, so my plan is probably to just do the retopology over the weekend. I think that fits quite well because retopology can take a while, because it's quite technical how you need to set it up, but we can still talk about it one day, in one stream, which is probably enough to cover most of the stuff that you need to know about retopology. So we're going to do that probably tomorrow, if there are no we have one submission currently, or one person submitted a art submission for the feedback. If there's one more, we're going to cover that tomorrow as well. Yeah, but we will definitely go into the Reaper, the figurine creation tomorrow as well. Maybe a little bit less, maybe the whole time, we'll see. Covering retopology. So that we can then next week go into the clothing creation. Once we have the body, we have to wrap it, we have to cover it with something, which will be next week. Yeah, but we cannot begin with the figurine if we haven't done the quiz sketch yet. The quiz sketch for this, or for today, is something pretty cool, I think. It's something that I wanted to do over last weekend, but I did other, I guess, subjects. So let's get into Blender and do the quiz sketch real quick, so we have as much time as possible for the topic. And also, if you want to only see one of these topics, welcome back. Wait, what? The screen is all black? Hold on. That can't be. Is that the same on YouTube? Welcome back, Yilma. Wait. I think you were here before. If not, then welcome back for the first time. The screen is black. Let me check that real quick. There you go. It shouldn't be, but I can check. Hold on. Oh. There you go. Let's see. Nope, it's there. It should be, it's probably on your end. If you can hear me, yeah, probably. I can type it in chat as well. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I got my own chat rules in mind. Oh, just to make sure. Okay. Weird. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Yep. If you're seeing this as a YouTube video later, yeah, you can see timestamps in the description and in the timeline if you only want to see one of these topics. So if you don't care about the daily quick sketch, which you should, because you're gonna participate in this daily 30-minute quick sketch, then yeah, you can skip ahead. So the plan, you can see what we will sculpt today. We sculpt this fella here. The plan will be to create a bust out of basically the shoulder, or like the mantle fur around his neck, then a little bit of his chest plate, and then of course the cowl, or the whatever you call that, like the hood, to create a cool bust. Of course, we only have 30 minutes, so we can't really go into too much detail, but we'll see how far we can get. This time we can actually use symmetry, so we should be twice as fast as yesterday. Yesterday was quite a short. Oh, hello. My pen doesn't work. Why don't you work? You know, we had to work on double the amount of the model, so we didn't really finish everything that I wanted, but you know, we wanted to test whether or not we can actually do an asymmetrical model now that I have some more, I guess, practice in modeling animals, but it's still quite a short amount of time. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, we can go. Hold on. The music is, I think, in a good... Yeah, perfect. Okay. I would say we can begin the 30-minute quick sketch. Hold on. Okay, perfect. In 3, 2, 1, go. There you go. Perfect. Okay, let's begin. So the plan will be to sculpt a head, despite him not having one. I think it's still a good starting point, just because then we can kind of, I guess, yeah, just like with the Reaper sculpt, then we have something to, I guess, measure the proportions on. I guess the only thing we really need is like this. Now we know what the head looks like, and now we can build around the head. First of all, we need a neck. Well, let me just kind of, I guess, I'm gonna remove the head later, so this will only be temporarily visible. So I don't want to spend super much time on it. Just a little bit to kind of establish, I guess, the main proportions, or the main sculpt. At the end, I'm just gonna remove it, so we have this nice big hole there where his hood is. That's a weird jaw right there. Hold on. There you go. Okay. There you go. Look at him. Isn't he beautiful? Okay. So first of all, we need a neck as per usual. So let's make a neck. There you go. I wonder. So oh, hold on. Did my Wacom drivers, I don't know, reset or something? Or not reset, but they updated. My tablet didn't work the first time I tried it. Maybe that might just be a visual thing, but maybe some pressure sensitivity settings changed. Maybe not. I'm not going to question it as long as it's not hindering my progress. Okay, so let's bring in the neck. I'm going to pull it down first, and then we can pull back the neck part here. There you go. Perfect. So that's the neck. We're not going to see the neck, but the neck is very useful. Of course, what I try to do first, of course, is just kind of build I guess, the fleshy part of the sculpt, what is underneath the clothing, so we can then apply the clothing or the rest of the, model, like the clothing on top of it, so that we have a base to work off of. I don't really like just immediately sculpting the clothing. I like to work in layers. That's also why we started. Well, I don't know if it makes sense to really start, for example, for the Reaper sculpt immediately with clothing, because it's always super helpful to have a base to work on when you want to, place your clothing. One thing we could do would be, modeling the clothing in Marvelous Designer. You know, we've never looked into Marvelous Designer, but I think I would rather sculpt them this time, just because I've never really sculpted clothing before. Well, I've done it before, but not really like super complex, you know, clothes. So I think that could be a cool just experiment to see what we can, I guess, what kind of level of detail and all that stuff we can get to, how realistic we can make it. Yeah, just to kind of test it out. So we'll probably do it on in Blender without the clothing or the cloth simulations, just with good old sculpting. I think that should still work quite well. There you go. Putting in the shoulders. Shoulders, of course, roughly 1 head wide. One thing to keep in mind for the shoulder width, as we talked about it yesterday, we talked about the shoulder width being roughly a, what was it? 3 heads, like 3 heads next to each other is basically the shoulder width, but that only accounts for the bones. Basically where the joint of the shoulder connects to the rest of the body, that's basically 3 heads wide. If you include muscles, then the shoulders are a little bit wider. So of course, if you have a, you know, if you train your muscles, you train your shoulders, you will look wider than, you know, without muscles, of course. If you're talking about 3 heads width, 3 heads wide is your neck, or your shoulders are 3 heads wide, then what is meant is just the bones, not the muscles. For females, usually that works quite well, 3 heads wide, because the muscles, of course, depends on what kind of character you do, but generally speaking, are not that developed that they build a lot of volume around the joint. So you can still basically make the shoulders for female characters as wide as 3 heads. But for male characters, it might be a little bit different. Okay. Something's different. I don't know what. Maybe I'm just delusional. I don't know. Maybe I'm dreaming. Okay, look at him. Kind of rough, but, you know, better than nothing. Okay, so we probably don't need that much more. One thing that I want to do, though, is I want to pull this down to have some more room downwards. Basically more vertical room to place clothes on, or sculpt clothes on. So I'm just going to grab this and pull it down. Before I do that, though, I want to sculpt in the shoulders as well, like this. There you go. Now we have some nice shoulders. As you can see, if we put this head right here, the shoulders would probably end somewhere over there. So that's where the collarbone ends, and then we have the shoulder that kind of rounds out the shoulder, which adds a little bit more width to the overall body width, you could say, or shoulder width. There you go. Okay. There you go. Look at him. Perfect. Let's grab the body, everything down here, so we can pull it down. We could probably, so one trick that we discovered recently is I usually use the snakehook brush to pull out more geometry from a mesh. For example, for this, you know, to pull out more, to pull it down more, we use the snakehook brush just because it adds more geometry, and of course we need more geometry to make this look, you know, to add more geometry down here. Otherwise we would just stretch the faces, which wouldn't really look that well, and we couldn't really use it. So to pull like a flat surface down very evenly, what you can use is a fall off, a constant fall off. This way you basically pull everything down evenly. Usually the standard fall off setting is smooth, which means that you create this smooth curve the more you pull something down with, or pull something out with the snakehook brush. So what I mean is basically smooth looks like this, and you can see how big it started, but then it got, you know, thinner and thinner and thinner. That is just because of the smooth fall off. If you set it to constant, it'll always stay the same width, or have the same width. Yeah, so the plan today will be to finish the body proportions, you know, adjust them more to what kind of character we're creating. Yesterday we focused more on the muscle structure and all that stuff, so we kind of exaggerated some muscles to make them more visible and first of all, you know, establish the structure. Today will be focused on, you know, adjusting the structure to the character, and then also we will model the hands. We haven't modeled the hands yesterday, so today will be focused on how to model or sculpt hands, and then afterwards we will go into the what was the next one? Oh yeah, so I think hands can take a while, so I plan on only doing like sculpting hands today. If it doesn't take that long, like 2 hours or 2.5, then we can maybe begin with retopology, so that then if we can't finish the retopology tomorrow, I can do it over the weekend, so that we can then on Monday start with rigging and posing the character. And then afterwards, well, no, we're not gonna rig before we haven't added the clothing. So we're gonna add clothing next week, probably starting on Monday. I don't know how long that's gonna take. And then once we have that, we can go into the retopologizing of everything that we need to retopologize. Then we basically rig the character and we pose it. Once we have the pose, we can basically include everything like the rest of the clothing that isn't symmetrical. That's the plan. Adding everything that's symmetrical, posing it, and then adding everything that's asymmetrical. Okay, so we have this cowl or cap right here. I'm gonna pull it back a little so we have this kind of tip in the back. There you go. It's of course quite thin, so I try to keep it quite thin. The structure is a little bit different than what we have here, of course. We need to make a kind of, because it's more more, I guess, fabric than what is required for the head size, I guess you could say. There's some resting down here, kind of lying on top of each other, which creates this sort of U shape there. So to create the U shape, we can just pull it out like this. There you go. Okay, we need some more in the front, so let's do that now. First of all, just filling the head basically, and then afterwards we can go into the part that is overhanging over the head. So basically right here, kind of creating an edge that we can pull out. We're going to remove the head later. There you go, perfect edge. We're going to grab this and make a mask where we want to pull out of, and then we can pull it out. We're going to grab the snake hook brush. First of all, I'm going to save just so we don't ruin our sculpt again. Hold on. There you go. 206. I'm not gonna let Blender steal my time again, okay? So, okay, perfect. So now we can just pull it out to create a sort of hood shape. This might be too long, should probably just be lower. Also, it's point here in the front, so we're gonna pull it in the middle, like this. We can probably pull this higher just a little bit. There you go, I think that's a good start. This can probably also be a little bit longer right here. There you go. Okay. I think that's a good start. Doesn't look perfect, but at least we have a hood. You know, quick sketches don't need to be perfect. They just need to look like the reference. There you go. Perfect. Okay. Next step is adding the rest of the clothing first. I want to bring everything in first before we care more about the individual pieces. There you go. I think that could look quite good. Okay, there you go. Kind of have to watch out for front faces only, so we don't ruin the inside of the hood. Okay, let's focus on the rest. So the next step would be adding the chest plate underneath this sort of scarf, hood scarf, or whatever you call that poncho. Let's add the chest plate. Shouldn't be too hard. We can't really see that much of it, and it has like this structure. So we just add a layer on top of the body to create this sort of shape, or to build up the armor. There you go. We can structure it some more. I think we have the time for it. We have 16 minutes left. Perfect. So let's kind of see if we can emulate what we can see in the reference. Leather cap. Yeah. So many words. There you go. Might not be 100% correct according to the design, but who cares? There you go. Okay. Just gonna design it myself, I guess. Yeah, then once I kind of establish the main structure with the clay strips brushes, I can just use the crease brush to establish some more sharp edges. Da-da-da. Look at him. Not only, of course, as always, not only adding, but also removing will help establish a good structure. Oh. There you go. Of course, with symmetry, stuff like clothing doesn't really look 100%, I guess, realistic, just because clothing isn't symmetrical. A scarf isn't symmetrical. It would just like be wrapped around a neck, which is inherently not symmetrical. But, for the sake of speed, we'll take it. We're not gonna care about it. There you go. Oh. Okay. There you go. Okay, I want to make this sharper, so... Oh, hello. So I'm just going to put this together, pull this out a little bit. Okay. Perfect. Let's go to the main part, which is the sort of fur coat. This requires a lot of, I guess, volume. So why don't we add that now? It is right behind the leather cap, let's say. Right here. We definitely need some more over here as well, just to kind of create a base layer, of basically over the armor even. So we need to make this layer even thicker. There you go. I'm not going to really care about sort of the seams necessarily. If we have time, we can think about it. But, depending on the time, maybe we kind of think about what would the coat look like for his, for his sleeves, for example. Do you call that sleeves for a coat? I don't even know. Okay. One thing we could do is we could kind of create a cut in here for the arm. That could work probably. There you go. Get in there. Just to separate the arm from the body. Maybe even flail it out some more. Just like that. There you go. Okay. Let's get to back to what we did before. So let's add some more here. We need to go over this structure to bring in the code. Code is lying on top of the armor. We can see the armor basically as a layer underneath. So once we've established the structure of the armor, we can just basically sculpt over the layer to create the next one. Of course, we lose the layer underneath, but you know, that's just how it is. Good thing is if we sculpt it before we add the next layer, we can basically establish the structure beforehand, and we don't have to kind of fiddle around and try to, I guess, sculpt it afterwards. There you go. Kind of looking to where basically the code ends vertically. There you go. This goes around and then to the front, probably over here somewhere. I'm going to pull that out in a second. Just wanted to establish the overall structure. There you go. Now I'm just going to make a mask, a quick mask, so we can pull out basically the volume of the code, or the width, I don't know what you want to say. You can call it whatever you want. Let's call it apple. Let's plot the apple of the sculpt. There you go. We invert it so that we can then grab the snakehook brush and pull it out. Oh. There you go. That's the first part. Let's go to the back. Okay. This might be too far off, so I'm just going to pull it back in a little bit. I think on the shoulders it fits quite well, but maybe not on the back. I think the back is a little bit closer to the body. There you go. Looks kind of weird, just because we don't have any volume mapped up. We could probably maybe even use the inflate brush, but I would rather just sculpt it myself, because I have more control that way. Oh, let's save it real quick. Every time I have a stutter, I like to save. There you go. Now we're basically establishing the volume for the sort of fur code. Once we have that, we can give it some more details, like, you know, make it look like fur basically. Before we do that though, we'll probably care about the basically like the edge around. There's some more. It's too smooth. I think we can make this look a little bit more wild and rigid, rough basically. So, as I said before, I think this is too much in the back, so we can probably pull it back a little bit. If you, for example, look at colors for like a colored, what is it, like a collar shirt, or like a coat, you can see that the collar around the neck is in the back quite straight down. It flays out in the front a little bit more, but in the back is quite close to the neck. Okay, let's use the, what is it, the crease brush to bring in some sharper edges. Right here, for example, we're first going to just establish a sort of, you know, edge right here. Oh, hello, what is that? What happened here? Smoothing and removing. Yeah, we're not going to see it, so I'm not going to, oh, there it is, that's the problem. But maybe not. Front faces only are on, so by just, I guess, doing that, we can fix these holds. There you go, that should be good enough. Finishing the edge right here, and then we can get into some more structure. I said structure too much today. No structure anymore, okay? There you go. Next step, what I want to do is I want to separate the white part from the black part. So I'm just going to create a line right here to basically draw out where the two basically split. There you go. I think that looks quite good. Now we need some more volume up here. We can now basically sculpt in the direction where the fur is going, so we can immediately create a small, you know, structure. Oh no, I said it again. A small, basically, texture immediately, just because of the nature of the brush. You know, you can see these nice lines that can maybe even look like fur if they're small enough. You can use those to create a nice texture. Make it look more like fur rather than anything else. Needs to be quite high, so I'm just going to add some more here. Yeah, I think that works quite well. We can probably add some more though. We can see the distance from here to the white, from the black to the white. It's quite long. I mean, quite short actually. So we're going to pull this down some more. Give this white part some more room. It's not going to be white in our scope, but of course in the reference it is. We actually have two layers for the black part. We have this sort of clear, sort of leathery part, and then we have this sort of feathery part, or, you know, yeah, basically this feathery part at the end. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in here using the crease brush and not only do it like zigzaggy, like this, to create a, let's say, texture. I'm just gonna resort to texture instead of structure now. Make it more zigzaggy, more wild here, the edge. And then afterwards we can go and use the, what is it called? The snake hook brush to kind of make this sharper, or more rigid, more, whatever you want to call it. Give it this look that we can see in this sketch. We have 5 minutes left, so we will probably just be done with everything once we get there. There you go, just kind of giving it some more texture and some more overall variation. There you go. Then we have these pieces here. So for these, we can probably dig in first, like this. There you go. Those are the first few things that we're going to do, and then we're going to pull them out where they are quite high. So we're going to grab the good old mask brush, mask it, and then we're going to pull it out. Looks kind of like fingers, but that's okay. We can just smooth it, make it sharper. There you go. Okay. Maybe let's pull this back a little bit, separate these two pieces some more. Okay. I think that works quite well. Maybe we can work on the down, like on the sleeve some more here. Just kind of giving it some more love. Kind of giving it, you know, this sort of spiky look that you can see in the reference as well. Shouldn't take too long. Perfect. There you go. I think that's enough. Let's go and remove the head now. The head is still there. We don't need the head. So how about we remove it? We have 2 minutes left, or 3 minutes. Maybe we'll get to the point where we can actually just add a little bit of structure to the hood as well. We'll see. Gonna have to make sure that I'm not removing parts of the cap. As you can see, they're being affected by the size of the brush. So going in closer can probably fix that. No, not. Maybe not. Let's see if it works. Oh, I don't know how deep we need to go, but I'll just do it. I think sometimes if you want to remove a lot of volume, the crease brush is actually faster and easier to use for stuff like this, because you can see how much faster it just removes volume, or yeah, basically. So yeah, let's use that. Up here it's kind of like a hard area because there are like two surfaces next to each other, which shouldn't be affected, which shouldn't both be affected, only one of them. There you go. Making a lot of room in here. And then we're going to set up the light for the render in a way where we can, you know, make the inside of the hood completely black. So it looks like the reference. Oh. 47 seconds, maybe we'll not get to the hood. But at least we removed everything. Yeah, perfect. You know what? Let's pull out some structure here. Oh, structure, I said it again. Oh no. Curse word. Yeah, you know, just a little bit works. There you go. Look at him. This should be quite smooth. Okay. 13 seconds. I think we're basically done. Okay, perfect. There you go. Okay, perfect. Let's save. Okay, first of all, the idea was basically to create like a V shape coming from here all the way up, removing maybe the sleeves and the bottom part right here to make it, you know, just a little bit cleaner. So let's do that real quick. We can probably use the mirror modifier just to kind of make it more even or, you know, symmetrical. Okay, I wanted to... Hello? Apparently it froze because I wanted to cut this cube in half. Perfect. Oh, there it is. Clipping. There you go. Okay. Starting from here. You know what? No, I'm going to start from here so I can keep this sort of spike down there. I'm going to grab this and pull it out. So it reaches all the way up to here and past the sleeve, but not removing this part in front there. Okay, we're going to adjust that later. First of all, I'm going to pull this further back. There you go. Okay, next up we need probably one more cut. Before we do that though, I want to pull this higher. There you go. Let's make this work. Yeah, that should work. Maybe a little bit thinner. Nope, we can just make it like this. There you go. That should work perfectly. Let's see. Boolean and difference. Oh, let's remove the timer. Nobody needs you anymore. You've done your job. There you go. Perfect. Look at that. Perfect V-shape cutout. Maybe down here or here it's a little bit too round, but who cares? We're not going to see that anyway. Let's do the render. Going to place this on the side slightly so we have some, we can see the side view. There you go. One thing in environment design, concepting for example, is you should never show a house, for example, from one side, so you only see one side of the house, just because then you lose like this three-dimensional feeling. you can only, you know, see the two-dimensional wall basically. You cannot see the other side of the wall or the other side of the house, which kind of, you know, makes it look makes the image look kind of weird and sort of surreal, because you can't really, you know, see the three-dimensionality, as I said before. That's what I try to do here as well for these quick sketches, just by putting the camera to the side. We do not, you know, we can see a different angle than from the front, which I think works better in most cases. This one, I think, is it? Oh no, I didn't want to grab you, but I think I kept the material. No, okay, I didn't. That's what I wanted. There you go. Okay, first of all, we don't need the second light for reflections. We only need one. There it is. Let's see if we can actually place it somehow in a way where we can make the cap as dark as possible. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, I think. Kind of creating the shadow all the way down like this. That's pretty cool. Oh, that's really cool. I like that. These very sharp shadows, they look cool. Did I say cool already? Okay, there you go. Maybe we could put this on the right side so that the right side is more illuminated than the other one. I think that works as well. Perfect. Okay. Let's do a quick test render. Perfect. Okay. Good old one move post-production with the glare node. So I thought about switching or bringing the glare node or post-processing in Blender, because it's basically just denoising and then adding the glare node. Bringing that into Photoshop as well, adding this glare. But I haven't really found a good way to do that. The good thing is, if you do it in Blender, what Blender does to create glare is basically it looks at the brightness of every pixel or of the surface, and where it's super bright, it creates this, you know, sort of glow around it. Which is easier, of course, if you can access all the render data rather than just the pixel data, I guess you could say, which would be the case for Photoshop. There are ways to do it, but they would be rather manual, the ways that I know. So, you know, I'll just do it in Blender. Doesn't really take that long. There you go. Everything's ready to render. Let's do it. It is time not only to render, it's also time to take a drink. Oh, I canceled the render. Oh no. Did I? No, hold on. Yeah, I did. Look at it. Yeah, I chose this this reference, or this sort of subject, first of all because I wanted to sculpt like a character that has this hood on without a face in it, because I wanted to see what it looks like. And then also because I wanted to sculpt some clothing. I've done it probably a few times now, but usually the clothing is quite, you know, close, or like, you know, it's on the body rather than these super big pads of, you know, fabric, for example. So this was, you know, quite different to what we've usually done, and I enjoyed it. Only 22 seconds left. Can we wait that long? I don't know. So I thought about how we will basically sculpt the hands. If we should go through the entire process of adding the bone layer first, then the muscle layer, and then the fat layer, or the skin layer. I don't even know if there's fat in the hands. I don't think so. Maybe a little bit. But I think because the bones are so spread apart, it's hard to, I guess, you know, combine them all so we can sculpt and basically add more volume in between them. So we're just going to start with, you know, I guess a sphere, which we can make a pancake out of, so we can have this middle piece here, for example. It would probably be very useful to do it in a way where we can start with the bones, but probably also quite time consuming. Okay. Quick sketch day 206. Perfect. So we still need a name. I haven't thought of a name just yet. Maybe if you have a name for the image, spit it out. I need one. There you go. Hopefully. Oh, Photoshop is still scuffed. Well, let's go to display capture then. Okay. Let's begin with the good old contrast. Maybe we can make the inside of the cap even darker. Then selective color correction. We could, you know, do some post-production magic and make this completely black in there. You know what? Why don't we do that? I think that could look pretty good. We don't really have to do much. We just have to basically select it and then make it black. I just want to see what it looks like, so I'm just going to do it very loosely. Actually, no, that's going to take too much time. I don't want to spend that much time on it. Okay. Well, we can do one thing. There you go, inverted. Use the brush. Look at that. There you go, it's a little bit darker. Oh. You want to get a Discord link? $10, okay? $10, or you type in chat exclamation mark Discord. I think it's also in the YouTube description, isn't it? I don't even know. Maybe, maybe not. The first link. Okay. Let's save it. Nope, we need the texture. Hold on. And then we can finish the render. Resources, textures, fingerprint. There's so many folders just to get to this texture. I think I want to... So I picked up this sort of new habit, which is quite effective, and I like doing it actually. Yeah, Nightbot is, I think, maybe a little bit too slow. there it is. Yeah. So the habit that I wanted to basically, that I started, I think last weekend, is basically every morning when I wake up, I usually have like 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes to before basically my usual work start time starts. And of course on the weekends, I have as much time as I want to, theoretically. So I said to myself, well, every day when you wake up and when you showered and you're ready to do whatever, you take the first 50 minutes out of your day to just, clean up something in your room. I started that over the weekend, and basically now half of my room is clean. I kind of noticed that it kind of got super messy. Yeah, and I think 50 minutes doesn't really take that long, and it's, super easy, super simple. And, everybody, or a lot of people always say, like, hey, if you feel, I don't know, depressed, or if you feel down, it can help just to clean up your room. Cleaning your room kind of gets you in this sort of, well, what it is basically, for example, if you're depressed, I don't want to do, medical advice or whatever. I'm not an expert, but by cleaning your room, or as far as I know, depression is like not really knowing why you do stuff, so you don't really see a reason in doing anything, and just by basically, thinking to yourself, well, I could clean my room, and then you immediately have something that you can work towards, finishing the cleanup, I guess you could say, which kind of can make you, more happy, at least for a short amount of time. And doing that every day in the morning for 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes is quite, usually I actually want to do longer sessions, I guess you could say. I want to do it longer because I see more that I want to clean up, but then I say, well, no, we're going to keep that for tomorrow. It's like the cookie jar next to you, only one a day. That's basically how I treat it. And, you can't really, at least I can't make my room messy fast enough to not clean, or to not have a clean room at some point. And, I don't know, it's just a pretty easy way to clean your room without having to do it in a 2-hour session on a Sunday where you, force yourself to do it because, I don't know, cups of, Coca-Cola cups are stacking up or whatever. You just do 50 minutes a day, and then after maybe 2 weeks, your room is clean. And then, you can still continue doing it. You can look, well, is there something that I can clean up? And then you immediately keep it clean after you've, I guess, surpassed your clean limit. Every time it kind of goes behind that again, you immediately clean it up again. Okay. The render's done, which means I'm going to upload it. Oh, first of all, of course, welcome back, Savage Animal. Hope you've enjoyed your day. Welcome. You'll see the compilation in just 1 minute, and then after the 3-minute compilation, we will go into today's project, which is, of course, the Final Fantasy XIV Reaper Figurine. Yesterday and the day before, we worked on, we started building the model. On Monday, we worked on the head, talking about not only how to build a head, but also how to kind of emulate, or what is basically the Final Fantasy face sort of style, how they stylize a head or face to make it look more like Final Fantasy. And then we also, talked in general about how to sculpt a head. We've done it before, but, we emulated it to the Final Fantasy style. There you go. There it is. Copy and paste. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna see you in 3 minutes, and then we will begin with the hands, how to sculpt hands. Today we will begin from scratch, talking about how to sculpt hands, what is important to know, what is important, hands are quite complex, but if you break it down, they are quite simple, as simple as they can get, I guess. Well, no, never mind. They're not as hard as you might think, let's say that. So we can open the last state from yesterday, where we added the body to the head. There you go. It looks a little bit more like a action figure right now. So we have to do a few proportional adjustments. But once we have that, once we've kind of adjusted the body to what the character is supposed to look like, we can begin modeling the hands. So before we do that, of course, we will play the compilation, and then in 3 minutes we're going to begin. So hope you enjoy. I'll see you in 3 minutes. There you go. Apparently the bitrate doesn't like me. Let me switch it real quick. Hopefully we can fix these drop frames. I don't know why, but every time I play the compilation, the bitrate just goes haywire. Hopefully that's better now. Okay. It is time for this to look like a human being. Well, it almost looks like one. It almost looks like one. We need hands, but before we do that, before we add the hands, as we said before, let's finish the body. Yesterday we kind of focused on the general broad anatomy, kind of maybe making the anatomy bigger and bulkier than it needs to be. What I kind of want to look at for reference are gymnasts. I think gymnasts are a good reference when it comes to muscle size and body proportions. Not body proportions, but basically muscle size to emulate for this character. So we can look at a few, I guess gymnasts' bodies. That sounds kind of weird. To look at, to kind of get an idea to which kind of what the body looks like. Gymnast. Hold on. Gymnast. There you go. Maybe gymnast sounds kind of weird. Hold on. Oh, actually no, that fits quite well. Male gymnast. Do we have, why don't we say male gymnast physique? Let's see what we find here. No, not really. Hold on. I'm basically just looking for just like a gymnast standing. Once I have a good one, I'll show it to you. Just kind of trying to not show any nudity right now, so I'm just trying to, I'm just keeping it off stream right now. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay. So look at that. So here are different physiques for different, basically lifestyles or different use cases, let's say. So we have, physiques that fit or that are, following a different, or that basically cater to a different needs. We have the model, which are quite, well, it's defined, but it's not super bulky. We have the athlete, which is a little bit more bulky, not super high volume, but it's still more than the model, and it's also just like the model, quite defined. Of course, we have the whatever physique, I guess, bodybuilding. Well, physique, maybe aesthetic bodybuilding, you could say. That's what we have here. Basically, super shredded, big muscles, more focusing on the upper body than the lower body to get a good V shape. But because the legs aren't the main focus, the V shape gets basically even more focus, just because, you know, the legs would maybe, as you can see for the bodybuilder, would take up or would kind of hide or remove some of that V shape. But because the legs are maybe a little bit slimmer than for the bodybuilder, for example, the V shape stands even stronger, just because, you know, the legs don't really, I guess, compete with them, with the V shape built or created by the wide shoulders and, you know, yeah, the wide shoulders basically, and the thin hips. Then we have the classic bodybuilder, I guess. We have the strongman and the bodybuilding, modern bodybuilder. These three don't really come into question for the character that we want to build. You know, strongmans try to be as strong as possible, and that doesn't really work with a completely or like with a lean body when they have a little bit of fat on top of their muscles. As far as I know, as far as I heard, if they have a little bit of fat, a fat layer on top of their muscles, it helps with what they need to do. For example, you know, they want to lift as much weight as possible, and I don't know how it works, but the fat supports their body in lifting as much as possible. Welcome, Kush Shah. Welcome back. Hope you've enjoyed your Thursday. You know, maybe you've learned something new. Maybe you've met somebody that you always wanted to meet, or that you haven't met in a long time. Welcome back. And then the classic bodybuilder doesn't really come into question. Just like the other I guess the modern bodybuilder, it's too big basically. If you, for example, look at bodybuilders trying to do stuff like gymnastics or, you know, a lot of movements, they're quite stiff, you could say, and they can't really move as freely as you know, somebody that would wield a glaive, for example, in battle would probably need to be. So we're probably going to go with the athlete. I think the model is too thin, or the model is, yeah, basically too small, let's say. The physique is too wide. So the best choice between the three would probably be the athlete. I think athlete also, as the description, fits the most or the best for what we're going for. You know, an athlete that wields a weapon. They need to have some power to hold it and to swing it for a long period of time. You know, if you ever held a stick and you wield it all the time, it gets, you know, you get tired quite quickly. Yes, you did. Nice, that's nice. So I think the best one out of the 6 here is the athlete. We can probably use this because it's shot from the front immediately as the reference. Comparing that to what we have right now. Hold on. There it is. Why is my reference so small? There you go. Comparing that to what we have right now. Hold on. There you go. So there are a few differences that we can see here. The main difference is probably the width of the shoulders. The shoulder width currently kind of fits more to the physique of, like, the physique of the physique aesthetics build. Maybe by making the shoulders less voluminous and maybe bringing them into the middle a little bit more, also slimming down the arms a little bit, we can probably make it more according to you know, this athlete's build. I think the chest and abs and all that stuff work quite well. The main thing is probably the legs. Maybe we can adjust a little bit, but they're not really the main focus here. Maybe we can make those thinner a little bit as well, and then we can focus on the arms. The arms are way too big right now. So this will be the main focus. I think the arms right now fit more to the bodybuilder than the athlete. So yeah, let's adjust the proportions a little bit. Maybe we even merge the body with the arms, I mean the head, maybe even everything together. And then we will focus on the hand. Okay, so as we said before, we begin with the arms. So the arms are right here. Let's go and I guess fix them, we could say. One thing that I want to do to make it easier when we retopologize and rig the character is that I want to give him more of a T pose. Currently his arms are quite straight down. If we raise his arms a little bit more, we can build the geometry in here a little bit easier, which can make it easier in the end to basically, you know, to animate him, or to pose him basically. Not only to pose him, but also to rig him. So I'm just going to grab the pose tool and give him more of an A or T pose. Flail his arms out a little bit more. Right there. Da-da-da. Maybe to here. This way there's enough of a gap between the biceps and sort of the inside of the chest to, yeah, to have enough space to retopologize. Of course, we need to kind of merge this together again. There you go. My plan is probably once we have everything of the body, like once the body is fully sculpted, then we can go into the merging. We can merge everything together, finish or kind of fix the seams that we currently have. As you can see here, for example, there's a seam. We can fix those, and then we can go into retopologizing. Okay, let's focus on the arms first. Let's grab the reference. I'm going to put the reference here in my reference board with all the reference pieces that we have here. And then, why do we want to make him slimmer and more like an athlete? Well, the main reference kind of looks like that. Maybe they're even, you know, smaller, you know, maybe they even model, maybe they even have more like model proportions. So maybe we make it even thinner than the athlete. But the main goal is to make it thinner. And I'm going to put the reference here in my reference board, and then we will adjust the body. So let's switch back to Blender. I'm just going to save this image real quick, and then we can do some adjustments. There you go. Material. Perfect. There you go. Okay. So let's focus on the arms first. First of all, I think overall this area right here is too big. Everything is kind of too big, but especially here you can see, as we said yesterday, the triceps contributes a lot to the width of an arm, and you can see how much wider it looks just because of the triceps that you can not only see here, but also on the other side. So making the triceps a little bit smaller can help a lot in making the overall arm a little bit thinner. So we're just going to grab the grab brush, maybe even the smooth brush, to kind of make it a little bit thinner. Looking from both sides, of course, not too thin. We're doing it in this direction as well. We also want to make it look more like a body rather than like an écorché. Écorché would be something like this, where you can see every muscle individually without any fat on top, basically. That's not really what the body looks like. There's a layer of fat and skin on top, which smooths out everything. You can really see these, I guess, this structure right here. You can't really see that, except for maybe when somebody flexes their chest and they're super lean. So yeah, we're going to smooth everything out as well. And even just smoothing removes volume. Smoothing is basically, I think as far as I know, it tries to make the surface flat. And if you have this curve right here, you know, smoothing it can make it, you know, remove some volume basically. So if you want to do very, 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 very small adjustments, you can also just use the smooth brush. Okay, I think the triceps looks okay. Maybe we can do it a little bit more. Maybe even here, pull in the elbow a little bit. We move, I mean, make the overall circumference or radius a little bit smaller. And then we go to the biceps. One thing that is not really that visible if you're not super lean is the difference between these two muscles, or you can't really see this secondary biceps muscle that much, just because it's basically underneath the other. So you have rather this sort of plane right here, which kind of shapes the biceps. You can see right here, if I kind of just smooth it, you can see we kind of have more of a shape that looks like this, as this being a cube, like this, for example. So we have an edge right there, and then we have this sort of surface right there. But actually, those are two muscles, you know, as we had before. We can't, most of the time, that is not really that visible though. So yeah, we do the same here as well. We can probably pull this further in as well. There you go. Okay, so the triceps I think is in a good position. Let's go to the front, the biceps. The biceps overall I think is too big still. So let's focus on that now. We can first of all just pull it back here. When it grows in size, of course it grows in size outwards, which means in this direction here. And by removing, if you want to remove volume, we just push it back in, like this. Same for the width, just kind of pushing it in some more. Can remove some volume there as well. Kind of smoothing it as well to make it more realistic, I guess you could say. Same here, you don't really have this huge hole there in the middle. We can just smooth it there to make it more of a natural transition. Especially down here, you can see how defined everything is. Which makes it easy to see the muscles, the individual muscles, but afterwards, you know, it's probably not really that crazily or that super defined. One thing that I want to do here is currently his wrist is rotated in a way where his hand would be this, like this. You know, if I would lower my arm, it would be like this. Rotated like this, so it's facing us right now. I think what I want to do though is I want to make it more like this, or more like this. Yeah, more like this. I think that's a more natural position for the arms, and I think that also brings better results when we, or better deformation results when we pose the character, basically. But before we care about that, I want to focus on the overall anatomy and proportions. There you go. I'm always looking at my 3D reference as well, just kind of, you know, my real life 3D reference to not, make any big mistakes, you could say. I think we're in a good path though. Actually, should we rotate the arm? The problem with that then is that it gets hard to twist everything up here as well. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Okay. There you go. So we have the arms. Now they're definitely smaller. One thing that we probably need to do still is we need to push them in more. So I'm just going to grab them. Wait, can we just... No, we can't. I'm just going to grab them, full strength, and push them in. Well, hold on. Can we... I'm going to set the fall off to, to constant, so we move everything the exact same amount. Okay, apparently that doesn't work. Why not? Interesting. Maybe we need to use smooth. That's weird. Why? What? Why? That's so weird. Well. Welcome, Miss Panzif. Sorry if that's the wrong pronunciation. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you had a great day. Yeah, I don't know, maybe some people are very, they put a lot of value in their username, and they want somebody to spell it right, I don't try to disappoint them. There you go, perfect. Okay. Shaping everything a little bit more according to the middle part. There you go. Okay. So now the arms are closer to the body, which looks definitely way more like a character, like a human being, rather than an action figure. Usually with an action figure, you see these super, super wide shoulders, just because there are these big hinges or joints, you could say, which kind of push the arms out some more, and yeah, that's why they're usually a little bit wider on the shoulders. So it's not really an anatomy study necessarily. It's more just the process of creating the Final Fantasy figure, or the character itself. We, of course, start from scratch. So we begin with, a sphere, I guess, and start with the head and then add the body afterwards, which we've done yesterday. If you're interested in, something like the overall, I guess, what do you call it, like the overall structure, or the main muscle structure of the body, we talked about that yesterday, and of course, if you want to see that, if that's interesting, you can either, I think, watch the VOD on Twitch or just on YouTube. Yeah, if you're interested in that. Yeah. So to make the structure clearer, we made the entire body quite defined, so we can establish the entire structure. Now we basically add a second layer, or the layer of fat and skin on top, and make the character look more like a real person, less defined, smoothing everything out. And yeah, basically that's the same that I do for faces, for example. I like to begin with the bone structure, then the muscle structure, which then looks super defined. You know, you can see every single muscle. But then once we add and smooth the entire sculpt by adding the fat on top of the muscles, you know, everything looks a little bit smoother. So it looks super defined right now, but the goal will be to make it look like a human being, basically. X muscle system. Ooh. Isn't that, I think that's an add-on. I think I heard about that before. Wasn't that to simulate muscles when it comes to their movement? Where you can basically simulate muscle volume changes as you animate a character a certain way? Isn't that what that's used for? I can't remember. It sounds like that add-on. Okay. Yeah, I think the shoulders are in a good spot. They're quite bumpy, but that's okay. Let's save real quick. Visualize better skin deformations. Yeah. According to volume preservation of the body, muscle fat, and even skeletal bones. Yeah. So I, at some point, you know, looked into it, but I never really, you know, looked into it more than just I wanted to see if that exists in Blender. But it sounds pretty cool. If you want to go very deep into animations and realistic animations, it sounds like a pretty good tool to use, or a very helpful tool to make a character even more realistic than just their movement. There you go. Smoothing everything a little bit to make him look more like a human. Okay. I think the arms are in a good spot in terms of their size. I think the lower arm is a little bit too big still, so I'm going to make it a little bit thinner. Oh, that's quite a big jump here. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Okay. Yeah, I think the arms are definitely in a better place than what they were before. So let's focus on the rest of the body, and then we can go into the hands. We didn't really get to the hands yesterday, so it's time for the hands today. Hold on. Yeah. Wrists are quite thin, so we needed to adjust that. Let's go to the body. Oh, little mask right there. I'm not going to merge the body into the head just yet. I think we can do that just a little bit later. One thing we can do, though, we can adjust the trap size, I guess. Especially the trap form right now. Looks a little bit weird. They are quite big for like an athlete, but maybe not, you know, look, you know, there's more volume on the side rather than like in this triangle shape. So what it rather looks like, doesn't really look like this. It rather looks like this. That's what I'm trying to get here right now. There's some more volume on the side rather than in the middle. There you go. One thing that I also want to adjust is the lat. It's a little bit too wide right now. Just kind of pushing it in some more. It wraps basically around the, what is it called? The, I always forget the name. The rib cage, which means it's quite close to it, which means, well, it still adds volume, but it is located somewhere else rather than, well, you can see the volume more when you lift your arms, because then you pull the muscles more apart, so you get these wings on the side. because the lat is connected to the arms, so it gets kind of stretched out. Then you can see more of the volume. When it's close to the body, you can't really see it that well. It's still there, of course, but not really that visible. Okay. So what I try to do here now, of course, is I try to keep most of the structure, but it's just not supposed to be super defined. So I'm just going to go over here, smoothing everything, maybe working on some areas a little bit more to kind of make them more, I guess, make them look better. And then we can go to the hands. Oh, dynamic topology is off. Okay. There's quite a, I guess, deep spot here if you look at it from the 3/4 view, looking at my 3D reference. It's still there, but it's not that drastic, so we can pull this forward just a little bit more. There you go. So now we can see at least some of that structure in the 3/4 view as well. There you go, smoothing everything. Perfect. Okay. Of course, we're not going to see the body necessarily. We're only really, trying to get the proportions right. What is lying on top of the body, of course, is the clothing. So this will, be more of a focus when it comes to aesthetics. But if we don't have a good base layer, we cannot put good clothing on top of it. So we still need to make sure that everything at least looks decent. Why is dynamic topology disabled? Oh, because I probably went out of scope mode. This cut right here is quite deep, oftentimes. The love handle, as we talked about yesterday, can be quite deep. So let's keep it deep. Like this. Basically this muscle wrapping around the hip bone, or the pelvis. We don't need a built out crotch, a detailed crotch, so how about we leave it like that? We need some more volume right here, just a little bit more to kind of fill this space out. There you go. Okay. You can see how detailed the legs are right now, or how basically lean they are. Smoothing them should make them look a little bit more natural. One thing to make legs quite to make them look very ripped is by separating the two main muscles in the front, for example. So we can go in here into the, what is it called? The knee, and then we just do this. That kind of creates a more, a separation between one and the other muscle, which can make it look a little bit more muscular than without it. And we don't really have to keep the entire line right here, for example. okay. Maybe the legs overall are a little bit too big. We'll see. They look quite good for now. Maybe later. There's still some more to adjust here. And smooth. There you go. Make the butt nice and smooth as well. Especially this cut right there, you can see how deep it was. Just by kind of getting rid of that, it just looks a little bit more natural. There you go. You can still keep the slight, you know, indent, I guess you could call it, but it doesn't have to be super, super, super crazy. Super, super deep. Same here. Not only smoothing, as we said before, to, I guess, remove some of that volume, but also to, well, yeah, basically, to make the surface smoother and also to remove some of the volume. That's the main goal here, right now. You can see we gradually lose a little bit of volume every time we smooth over a given surface. I want to keep the structure of the knee. The knee, if you look at your own knee, you know, looking at it even if you're standing, it's quite soft, or no, it's quite defined, or you can see it very easily. So I tried to keep the structure quite close to what it already is. Okay. Maybe the calves are a little bit too long. No, like this space right here is a little bit too long. Or it's a little bit too no, actually it looks quite good. Maybe we can do small adjustments here, but overall I think it works quite well. Oh. Maybe if I decrease the strength a little bit, I can do smaller adjustments. Okay, so if we don't really have, I'm thinking about removing the crotch, because the crotch only really gives us trouble when we retopologize. The problem with it is basically that when we spread the legs in any way, we also either basically stretch the sort of bump that we have here currently, or we create like a crease here in the middle, and then we can kind of maybe avoid that. I think it's just easier to make this a little bit smaller. So that it takes up less space. There you go. Yeah, I think that works better. Okay, I think we're getting pretty close to the proportions that we need. The feet are way too big currently. Why don't we make them a little bit smaller? First of all, they have like the toes are further back than what they currently are, so we can pull them back a little bit. There you go, and then we can overall just move it back. We can probably also make it thinner a little bit. There you go, just to kind of get rid of some of the the size. Maybe even just making the thumb a little bit. I mean the thumb, the toe thumb, the toe. The big toe, a little bit smaller, can probably help as well. It's pretty big right now. I think that works quite well. It's not supposed to be super small feet. I think that's a good size. Maybe they can be a little bit thinner. Also, sometimes the toe kind of goes more in the middle. This kind of removes some of that structure. I mean that size as well. Yeah, I think that's a good size. I like that. Okay. Yeah, I think we're in a good spot here. I think we have everything that we need. We have the overall size, and I guess definition works quite well. I want to make this smoother here. Okay. I would like to compare it to the previous version, but now it's smoothed over. So yeah, we can at least save it as a new file. Then we can still compare it to the old one if you want to. Which that's version 1B, C. There you go. Okay. So now that we've basically adjusted the proportions, I think they are in a good spot now. The next step would be to basically to combine the different limbs so we can remove the transitions basically. So before we do that, we're going to do the same trick that we've used yesterday. Basically making a duplication out of all of them so we can go back to the previous version if we need to. Sculpting doesn't really work very, let's say, non-destructively, so we can make our own, we can prevent destruction by just duplicating it. There you go. We can probably remove the old pieces here. What even are they? Oh, okay. Yeah. Proportions, do we really need those? No, not really. Okay. Oh, we still have more? Oh, of course. Okay, so we have this as a backup, arm rough. Oh. Back up, we have the body. So even if we wanted to add more detail to this body now, I think it would make more sense to do that once we retopologize the body, if we really need to. Because then we have good topology, and then, you know, we don't really, oftentimes, if you retopologize, you can lose some of the detail that you sculpt in. And if you sculpt in the detail in the already retopologized model, then you don't lose it. So, you know, why do we do it then? There you go. Back up and hide. Okay, let's combine the pieces. So first of all, we have the body. We're just going to use Boolean modifiers. I think that's the easiest way to do it. I don't really know a different way to do it, so that's the only way to do it. I want to keep the pivot point in the middle where the body is, so I'm going to use the Boolean on the body and merge the arms into the body rather than merging the body into the arms. There you go. Union, hopefully it works. Yeah, perfect. They overlap. That's the most important thing, of course, if you want to merge stuff. Looks pretty good. If we hide the original arms. Oh. Wait. Union. There you go. See, now they're merged and we can fix the transitions. Okay. We also need to merge the head into the body. Let's first finish the first boolean here. One trick, if sometimes when you, for example, try to use a boolean modifier with when you want to cut something off, I don't know why, but sometimes the geometry just, I guess, doesn't work. And then you basically, instead of removing the volume, it just adds it to the object for some reason. One way to fix that could be to switch it from the solver exact to the solver fast. I've never really seen big quality differences between the two, but in most cases it at least fixes the issues that I had with it merging instead of removing itself, or subtracting. Okay. Is the head in a good position? I think the head is good. We can do some proportional adjustments maybe. The head looks quite wide currently. We can maybe make it a little bit thinner, but then I think we're in a good spot. I think the height of the head looks good as well. Just because the neck is currently so thick, it looks like it's super, super short. Well, maybe we can pull it up a little bit more, just a little bit. There you go. That should be enough. Yeah. You know what? A little bit down. Okay, there you go. Boolean it is. I would like to know what the problem is when it merges instead of differentiates, you could say. If you know the problem, then you can fix it, but I don't know the problem, so I can't fix it. Okay, let's now finish the body. Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. We need to reapply the mirror modifier to the body. There you go. For the eyes. Okay. Let's merge everything together. You can see the big the big seam right there. Easiest way to fix it with dynamic topology. Somebody asked today, or somebody asked over the, in a few comments on YouTube, that in the Blender manual, apparently, dynamic topology is not advised to be used, or Blender manual says dynamic topology is not a good way to sculpt. What they claimed was that it said that you should use voxel remeshing. So I guess what they mean is sculpting first with the geometry that you have, then voxel remeshing and adding more geometry, and then basically using that geometry to add more detail, which seems pretty counterintuitive, or at least less dynamic, you could say, compared to just using dynamic topology. Maybe they say that because of, I don't really know why. Yeah, I don't really know why you would use retopology only. I mean, what is it called? Remeshing instead of just, sculpting with dynamic topology. I just said, well, in my opinion, it's just easier to use dynamic topology, and you don't really use the model necessarily in the end anyway. You probably retopologize it if you want to, use, for example, certain textures, or customize textures instead of proportional. I can't speak today. Instead of procedural textures, you use. If you want to use custom textures, then you could, you would just retopologize it, and then, you wouldn't even use the original mesh anyway. So it's only really temporariness if you want to use textures. So yeah, I don't really see a reason to use remeshing instead of dynamic topology. There could be advantages when it comes, like technical advantages in terms of geometry maybe, but I can't really think of any. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they lied to me. Maybe they've just been an imposter after all. They've been a little sus in the comments. I think the meme is already too old. I think I should stop. Okay. Yeah, it was definitely a good call to move the arms further out. You can see the distance between the biceps and the arm. I mean, the body is quite small, but I think it's just big enough to work with it, to create good topology and also a good deformations when it comes to the armature. The problem is, so what I kind of try to bank on when it comes to rigging is that when you want to apply bones to your character, of course, you usually start with, of course, first of all, laying out or placing the bones inside of the character, and then you use the, automatic weights function to apply the different parts of the body to the different bones, so that certain bones, of course, if the so that the forearm moves according to the forearm bone, you have to apply the geometry that is part of the forearm to the forearm bone. And that can be solved with an automatic, function. The problem with that is it kind of does it in a proximity, like looking at proximity. So it looks at which bone is closer to that geometry, and then they kind of does some sort of math function where it says, well, there's either just one bone that is close to the geometry, so it has full control over the geometry, or there are multiple bones close to the geometry, so they kind of look which ones is closest and then give those according to their proximity to the geometry a certain value that they have to affect the geometry. So yeah, the more you spread out, for example, the arms, the less, for example, the bone that is in the biceps would affect this kind of area here. This kind of area will not be affected if if the arm is quite far out. That's why, for example, the T-pose is quite useful for automatic weights. The problem with, of course, the T-pose could be weird deformations in the shoulders, because shoulders look very different if they are in this position. They're very, very flexed. They're very, very short compared to just leaving your hands on your side. So maybe you either have to account for that, kind of, I guess, not really guess, but just have experience what you need to sculpt them like to make them look realistic in the end when they just leave them hanging. Or you use an A pose, which has less situational deformations, let's call it, and more relaxed muscles, which maybe requires some adjustments of the weights in the end. I actually mis-sculpted a muscle. I'm sorry. I said something wrong. The back shoulder muscle actually connects to, or kind of connects to the traps here, right there. It looks more like this. Before, what we had here was kind of like this shape. It is quite diagonal into the middle. Now this should look better. More anatomically correct, you could say. There you go. Look at him. Beautiful. I think we don't really need that much more volume in the the shoulders. I think the shoulders look okay. Maybe even a little bit too big. We can probably make them a little bit smaller. Not too much, just a little bit. Okay. We can maybe overall make the waist a little bit slimmer. Not too much. I don't want to make it super slim, but maybe just pushing it in a little bit can help. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I think one thing that I want to do is make his head just a little bit slimmer. Very slightly. And then we are basically done with the body. Then we can go to the rest of the head. I mean, head, we can go to the hands. Hopefully we have enough time to finish them. Oh, hold on. Oh no. You're making me open Streamlabs. Hold on. Welcome. Thanks you for the follow. Hope you enjoyed the stream so far, and hopefully you enjoyed the stream for the rest of your time you are here. Anthony Cadet. Welcome, Anthony. Hope you had a great day. Working on the body of the figure for the Final Fantasy figurine. Thank you. Yesterday we built the body and talked about the main muscle structure. Today we adjusted the overall proportions of the muscles, so they are not as bulky as they were before. And now, today we want to focus on the hands. I've been kind of fiddling around with the body quite a lot to get it into shape, I guess. But today's main goal was to finish the hands. So I think we're in a good spot with the body. Let's go into the hands now. Okay, first thing to keep in mind when you want to sculpt hands. If you use your hands and you put them next to your body, like this, you know, like this, next to your body, the wrist basically begins on your crotch height. So if we would, for example, grab this arm right here. Well, that's annoying. That's why I hate this pose tool. It says like you don't need any masks, but you could see what happens. It just connects to the middle part right here. I want it to connect to the shoulder up there. So what we could do, we could, you know, rotate the arms down, and they would align with the crotch height. So now we can basically attach the hands to the end here. We're going to make a new separate model for the hands first, and then we're going to, I guess, attach them to the rest of the body once the hands are done. So let's save it. There you go. And then let's go to the hands. So we want to sculpt the hands from scratch. And to do that, we need a model. We're just going to use the good old UV sphere to begin with. There you go. Yeah, let's place them down here. Oh, there's one thing that I wanted to try. So one thing that I kind of want to adjust right here is the rotation of the wrist. Good thing is we don't really need to rotate that much of the arm. Everything that really rotates when you rotate your arm starts, this is what rotates the most, and then it maybe goes all the way up to here in a less and less, like with less and less intensity, so that the muscle up here doesn't really rotate. The elbow doesn't really rotate when you rotate your lower arm. Only really this rotates, of course, the most, and then the further you go up here, the less it rotates. Which means maybe we can just rotate it down here and we can achieve good, I guess, rotation in the muscles to not have to adjust anything. Let's see. So one way to rotate something would be just to use the snake hook tool and then do this. Let's see. You can see the radius of the brush is a little bit too small. What if we make it bigger? I don't want to... Well, we can probably just do this. Oh, there you go. Perfect. And now we can go in here and try again. Making the brush a little bit bigger and then rotating it slightly into the middle. Come on. Yeah. Let's try again. Or we can also use the pose tool. The pose tool does not only move the arm like this. It also moves, or it can also twist. I never used the twist function, so I'm kind of curious how that works. Oh, it actually is on rotate and twist. You can squash and stretch, scale and translate. How does rotation work? What if I do this? Well, it doesn't really rotate. I mean, stretch. So I guess the snake hook it is. There you go. I think that works. It's not super bad in terms of the deformations. By adjusting it slightly, I think we get to a good spot. There you go. Yeah, perfect. I think that's good. Maybe we can rotate it back slightly so it's facing outwards a little bit, although we don't really need to. I think that's good. There you go. Okay, let's get to the hands. I don't want to waste any more time. Save it first, and then let's begin with the sphere. Wait, do I already have a sphere? No, I don't. There you go. Okay, so we're going to begin with one side, and then we're going to mirror to the other, of course. Well, we can already use the mirror modifier, and then we can, when we sculpt, already have it mirrored to the other side. You know, we can just use this and then mirror to on the body, and we already have it mirrored on the other side as well. And once we sculpt this sphere into a hand, the other side will, of course, follow, because we enable symmetry. Okay. I don't know why, but sometimes when I do some basic transformations, Blender just crashes. I don't know why, but please, let me use Blender. Oh, there it is. Okay. So the plan will probably be, yeah, I just saved, so at least I don't lose any progress. So the plan will be to build a base mesh first, and then we can detail out the hand. So the base mesh is basically we're going to separate the hand into multiple pieces. So we have one sphere for this part right here, this part, the middle part where everything else connects to or is based off of. Then we're going to have two spheres for the thumb, because the thumb only has two bones. That's also why the thumb isn't a finger. The thumb is only a thumb. The thumb is not a finger, because fingers have 3 bones. The thumb only has 2, so the thumb is not a finger. And the rest of the fingers, of course, will then, if they have 3 bones, they will have 3 spheres. So we're going to create a base mesh out of spheres. And once we kind of are satisfied with the hand structure, we can then go into sculpting to detail it out some more. So, of course, looking at the hand, it's not round, so we need to make it thinner. There you go. I like to use, not the sphere, I like to use a box, because we can apply a subdivision modifier on it. Welcome back, Zachary. Hope you enjoyed your Thursday. Hopefully it wasn't raining, or maybe you liked rain. Maybe then, you know, hopefully it was raining. Yeah. So I like to use a sphere, because with a sphere you have more control over the structure. So I like to make the middle part of the hand quite quite flat, but with quite harsh edges. Some rain, okay. You know, for where I live, it was never really super warm, just because every time it got like slightly warmer than normal, I guess, it started raining, so it cooled down again. So every time it was like, oh, it's getting warmer. Nope, never mind. Getting warmer. Nope, never mind. Every time, which was quite annoying. But we got some warmth, and I think it was enough, so I'm not complaining. So the good thing now is we can still do the same that we've done for the sphere. You know, it gets quite round and it has these sort of round edges. But now we can just add a cut in here, and then, you know, it's more, you know, it has these harsh edges, which we can utilize to make the hand more, you know, to shape. We can shape the middle part a little bit better than if we use a sphere. Elbow cuff, oh no. Welcome back, James. Hope you have been well. Did you said university started again, right? Have you been busy with university? Have you been able to work on some Blender projects in that time? Sanitize the elbow. Okay, so of course it's not just like a disc for the hand, it's like this sort of longer cube than it is wide, not white. And then we have the thumb right here as well, which we will add separately. So let's create the disc, or the hand shape first. One thing to keep in mind, the hand in its length, like the entire length going from the wrist to the tip of the finger, generally fits into the face. It doesn't fit in onto the entire head height, but into the face height, basically going from the bottom of the chin all the way up to the hairline. Of course, if you have a receding hairline, that might not work, but you know, maybe you could, hold on. Well, maybe you can take the tip of the ears as the face height, maybe. Tired. Teaching first and K. What is that? What is first and K? Okay, so what we're gonna do is, wait, no, never mind. Oh, okay, Anthony, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining. Okay, so let's see how big it is. So if I take my hand, looking at the proportions, of course this side, it has different proportions comparing the fingers to the back of the hand, then comparing the fingers to the palm, I guess, of the hand, because the fingers go further into the middle right here than they do here. They're shorter if you look at this than comparing it to this. First and K? Is that a word? I've never heard that before. So it's like the first year of school, I guess. Yeah, okay. Thank you for translating. Isn't that elementary school? No, yeah, isn't that elementary school? Okay. So this side is more close to half is back of the hand and half is finger length. So the entire length is basically half fingers, half hand on this side. The other side is a little bit different. It's pushed up further a little bit, so the back or the palm is longer than the fingers. But we're going to look at this, which means this cube needs to be half as long as the face. It's kind of hard to measure, maybe. We'll see. Let's see. So I guess we can just keep the size, I mean the structure. You can see how big it is currently. We need to make it way smaller. If I compare it to my face, I can look at the webcam. Hold on, aligning it to my jaw. It ends at the nose. Of course, his proportions could be different, but I think ending at the nose is a good spot to end. So let's make it smaller so that it fits into here. Maybe, oh, way smaller. Oh, that's pretty good. You can see it aligns with the bottom of the chin and goes all the way up to the nose. Perfect. Okay. Now that we have the size, we can pull it down and we can shape it a little bit more like how we need it to shape. I'm not gonna rotate it yet. I'm gonna keep it like facing downwards. I think that's just easier to sculpt, because otherwise we would have to think about the align or the rotation of the hand, which is annoying. So I'm just gonna keep it hanging. There you go. One thing to keep in mind is that it's wider here than it is down here, just because of course we have bones originating from here. So you have a lump of small bones down here, which is creating like a sphere if you look at it from like this. And then you have 4 bones originating from here and going outwards in like a fan way. Like it looks like a fan if you remove the skin and muscles. And of course, if you look at a fan, the fan is wider on the outside than on the inside, or at the origin, you could say. So what we can do here is we can go in here and we can add a cut right there, make it smaller. There you go. And then we can add a cut. Oh, well, we don't really need a cut. We can just use this and make it wider. Maybe the width is already good. Maybe we can make it a little bit wider. There you go. And there you go. See, now we have a more hand-like shape. We can maybe even add this and then make these faces a little bit thinner. There you go. Now we have a good base hand shape. One thing to keep in mind is looking at both sides. You can see there's a slight bow or curve that you can see. The small finger starts further down than the middle finger, for example. The middle finger is the highest. We can put that in here as well if we want to. We can maybe just sculpt it. Yeah, let's just sculpt it. I think that's easier. We don't really need to enable dynamic topology. We can just, grab it and move it. So looking at it, looking at the rotation, the finger is on the inside or the back. So here, pushing that upwards. Wait. There you go. That should work quite well. Oh, I know why it doesn't really work, because the modifiers are still applied. Well, maybe we should apply the modifiers before we do any adjustments. Okay. So, are you studying to become a teacher? Is that what I'm hearing? Or not? Are you just, you said you had kids, if I remember correctly, so maybe they got into elementary school now and then you brought them there, or maybe, I don't know. There you go, more like a hand shape. Of course, this is just the base mesh, so we don't really need to pay too much attention to it, but there you go. Okay, now we have the hand base shape. We can go into detail when it comes to the rest of the fingers. Online school, okay. Ah, okay. Is that what you mean? That you teach them, like you do homeschooling? Is that what you meant, or something different? I'm not trying to question you here, but you started the conversation, okay? I'm not to blame here. Okay. So now we create basically boxes for every finger. One thing we can do is we can basically apply the same modifiers and then create a base model that we can then just duplicate for all the bones. So we can now add 2 cuts right here, scale them up, and then make them smaller. There you go. Now we can use these as finger bones. Maybe they're a little bit too long, but we can adjust that for every single bone. We're gonna save real quick. There you go. Okay. Let's do the 4 fingers first. Keeping in mind that they are just as long as the palm, or the back of the hand, or the base of the hand, let's say. Also, the first bone originating from the base of the hand is the longest. The next one is a little bit shorter than the previous one, and then the tip of the finger is the shortest, which helps you when you rotate your finger. You can see, well, it's kind of hard to explain, but it helps when you curl your finger. If the tip of the finger isn't as long as the the base of the finger, the first bone, then it just helps with curling your finger. I learned that the hard way when I created my first Basemesh. Okay. I think what I'm gonna do is I will. Oh yeah, that's probably a good way to do it. What we can do here is probably just bring these edges all the way up to the top, like this, and then we can make these fingers as long as they need to be, and then we can create 2 cuts in the middle, or 2 cuts in this geometry, to create the 3 different bones. We're going to give them a small curve so that they're, you know, not fully flexed, but, you know, slightly relaxed, to make it look more natural. So we're going to begin with this one. This one has to be as long as the base of the hand. Looks almost good to me, maybe a little bit longer. There you go, that looks pretty good. One thing we could do as well would be making this face a little bit smaller, so that the tip is thinner. There you go. So now we can align it. I'm going to duplicate this actually, so I think this one is more useful when we duplicate the fingers than this big one. So let's begin creating the fingers. Of course, if we compare the 2 lengths, the longest finger is the middle finger, so the middle finger is, you know, is as long as the base of the hand, but the other ones are a little bit shorter. So we're going to place the middle finger first, and then we're gonna adjust the other ones. So we need 1 more on the side for the index finger, and then we have 2 more right next to them, right next to the middle finger. There you go, and there you go. Adjust their rotation there slightly. If you just flex your, or relax your hand, you can see they fan out a little bit as well. You can see they're not fully straight like this. They're actually fanning out a little bit. If you just relax your hand, you can of course make it extreme, but you know, if you relax it, it looks like this. So they have a slight distance between them. Okay. Same here. And of course, they're all the same length right now. We need to make them shorter. Look at him. Perfect hands. He looks like Edward Scissorhands right now. Oh no. He's back. Craig Kyber, welcome back. Hope you had a great day. Seems like, you know, hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great day as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Aronix as well. Oh no, yeah, Aronix, sorry. Aronix was you rated, right? I don't know why I got no raid notification. That's weird. Welcome. Yeah, we're doing we're modeling a Final Fantasy XIV Reaper figure. Usually what we've done is when we create a character, we've only really done a character up to the shoulders. This time I wanted to create one of, hold on. Something like this, for example. Look at him. Look at Zero Suit Samus. Like an amiibo basically for a Final Fantasy character, or rather class. That's what we basically do right here. We're currently in modeling the body, so that we can then afterwards go into retopology, posing, and then adding the clothing. that's going to be the next step. Today we model mainly the hands. We've adjusted the proportions so it looks more like a normal human being, I guess. And then hopefully we can we're gonna work on this next week as well. Hold on, let me just bring this back. Crack Kyber Raid, okay. Okay, yep. Hope you've been doing well. Maybe did some more. Well, you probably worked some more on some games, I guess. Maybe VR, maybe something else. We actually went into game development ourselves. We created a small jump and run game in Unreal Engine. Getting into, I guess, programming and, values and how to, I guess, check them and stuff like that. Creating UI is very, very simple. Just to kind of get into it. So, yeah, I mean, it's as far as I know, or as far as I understood currently, it seems pretty simple. The only really problem is, of course, you need to know the code, basically. Of course, if you want to code, you need to know the code. Still waiting for that to be in stream. Oh no, you can wait a long time for that. Maybe I can pack it together and, I don't know, upload it to Discord. I don't know. Just trying to learn how to animate in Blender and did some character art stuff, but I'm not very good at it. Well, the more you do it, the better you get. Little side sculpting project is Majin Buu. Oh, nice. Isn't that the pink dude? I don't know. I've never watched Naruto. No, just kidding. Dragon Ball. So I don't know which character that really is. I think it's the pink dude, right? With this sort of ice cream head or ice cream hair. Exactly. He has like two forms, either completely ripped or like this 50-year-old sitting on a couch body. Different, yeah. The slender version. Oh, okay, not the chubby one. Okay, yeah. The ripped version. Sounds like a cool project. Yeah, so of course animating can take a while to get into, or well, so I guess you've already, learned. What do you? So do you mean animating? So you're not really going into retopology and posing yourself, or do you do that as well? Like going through the entire process of creating a character to animate him, like we basically do here right now. Do you go through the entire process or just the animating part? Okay, quick tip for the hands. I just recently learned that actually. The thumb is on a, so if you look at the plane of the fingers are all in the same plane basically. You can see the plane is right here. But comparing that to the thumb, hold on. There you go. Comparing that to the thumb, you can see the thumb is not on the same plane. The thumb is basically on a 90-degree rotation compared to the other fingers. You can see right here. You can see these, basically the sinews of the fingers go in this direction. Or you could see, let's say the fingernails. The fingernails point in this direction for the 4 fingers, and then the thumb points in this direction. So these point in this direction, these point in this direction. So it's a 90-degree rotation from the rest of the fingers. Keeping that in mind, it's good that it's 90 degrees because that's easier to sculpt or, model. We can just rotate it by 90 degrees and then place the thumb right there. Yeah, the thumb is always hard. Especially, so I, like 2 weeks ago or so, sculpted hands out of just a sphere for a sculpt, which worked quite well. It is either I was just lucky or I kind of learned how to do it with just a sphere. But yeah, once I kind of knew that it is on a 90-degree rotation, it definitely is easier. So you can basically now grab, if you want to sculpt it completely, you can grab like a batch out of here and just pull it out like this and then create the finger. The hardest part was always to nail the rotation, but once I kind of knew that it's 90 degrees, it's a little bit easier. You know, if it would be like 45 degrees, I think that would be harder to sculpt. Polymodeling. Oh, yeah. I've never done polymodeling for the body, so, you know, I'll believe you. So the thumb starts lower, of course, than the other fingers, you can see. It goes a little bit further than the connection from like the base of the fingers. You can see it goes a little bit further. So we can probably begin by rotating it right here. There you go. It's probably a little bit too long, so we can make it a little bit shorter. I think that's pretty good. We need to pull it further down. Maybe over here. It's hard to place the thumb for me still, so I think, hold on, we need to go even lower. There you go. Yeah, I think that works quite well. There you go, okay. Let's rotate it back, and then we can put the thumb in. Giving it some outward rotation as well, slightly. There you go. Also, we need to pull it out some more, because we need to add the bone right here. This bone. Da-da-da. So we need to pull some more geometry over here. Out over here. I think that's a good place. That's a good spot. For the thumb, of course, we only have one section, or we have two bones, which means we only need one cut in the middle right here. So what we do is we go in here and create a cut. There you go. And then we can grab this face. There you go. And hold on. No, we go in here. We set the pivot point on this edge cursor to selected. Then we can select the face right here. And then we can rotate it in the middle. So we can create sort of the finger shape. So it doesn't have to be perfect, it's just the base mesh. There you go. Okay. Wait. Okay, yeah. Maybe that's too much, but we can still adjust it in sculpt mode. Let's add the, let's do the same for the other fingers. We add, what is it? 2 cuts. We can maybe even rotate it so the rotation works better. There you go. Perfect. Align it with the hand rotation basically. And then we can rotate it. Maybe we can even use proportional editing for this. Set it to sharp. Oh, wait, oh. There you go, just a slight rotation, not too much. There you go, perfect. That's the first finger. Let's do the other ones. So we can see the other ones, we can just hide this one. Okay. Oh. There you go, perfect. Rotate. Perfect. Next finger. Same here, rotation. Oh. Yeah. One thing that you can keep in mind to kind of visualize the outwards rotation or the fanning of the fingers, if you bring them together, you can see that they come closer together. You can see how close the tips are now. Even if you spread out your fingers, you can see all the fingernails or all the fingers point in the middle. They don't point downwards, they point into the middle of the hand. See that? So they intrinsically have an outwards rotation. Even if you bring them close together. Maybe then they point downwards, but if you just do this, for example, you can see that they point inwards. Okay. Oh, we actually made a mistake, but we can, it's just a base mesh, so it's not too bad. Cursor to select it. And we can do the same here. Come on, let me select the small edge down there. Why are you so mean to me? Oh no, there it is. There you go. Let's bring back all the fingers. All the fingies. Perfect. There's one thing that we need to adjust, which is the palm. So we just grab the grab brush and we pull out some geometry to create, basically to add the muscle or the bone that goes to the thumb right there. There you go. And that's the base mesh. Now we can go into detailing. Let's look at the overall shape. Maybe we can push the fingers closer together. I think overall they're not super more, they're not much wider than the wrist. Maybe a little bit, but not as much as we can see here. We can probably push them together a little bit. So let's do that. First of all, we're going to do this here. Push them together. And then we can move the fingers. Okay. That's probably better. There you go. Make the distance a little bit smaller. Perfect. Look at that. I think that's good. I think that's a good. That's a good hand. Looking at it in terms of its size. Actually, let me just grab it and see what it looks like when we compare it to the face. That's a nice mirror. Oh. Maybe a little bit bigger. A little bit longer, maybe. Yeah, I think that's a good size. Why did it go over there? What did I do? What did I do to you? Okay. Perfect. So now we have the fingers in place. We have the base mesh in place. So why don't we start building or sculpting? I'm going to save this real quick. I need to find... Oh, there it is. I guess we can mirror it on the body so that we don't get this weird... Oh, I already applied it. That's why. Okay. I guess we need to remove this again and make another mirror of this. Okay, I'm just gonna do this. Perfect, everything is in place again. Now we can, first of all, I'm gonna duplicate this again, make a duplicate or a backup of this, just so, you know, to be sure, so that we don't lose anything valuable, I guess. Yeah. So I'm gonna, duplicate it. There you go. Where is it? There it is. I don't know which one's which, but... Oh, there it is. So when does it start? I forgot, hold on. It starts at 8, okay. 8 is the base, perfect. Parent it to the hand. Let's call it hand base mesh backup. So we still have it if we need to, if we need it. Perfect, okay. Oh, there you go. Perfect. Now we can apply everything. And we can merge everything together. So there's an easy way to merge without having to use the Boolean modifier. That is especially useful if you have these or if you have a lot of pieces that you want to combine. The easy way to do it is to select everything. Control J to join everything together, and then we use a remesh modifier. And you can see now we have a nice topology that includes everything. The problem is you can see here, if I guess the voxel size is too small or too big, it just jumps over to the next finger. We could make the voxel size smaller. We can maybe even use sharp. Hold on. Why does it just go away? Well, I guess we can just use voxel. Usually I start to get problems when I go below 0.01. There you go. Perfect. Apply. There you go. We have a nice base mesh. Let's begin modeling. Or sculpting. Okay. Let's reinforce, or let's create the actual structure of the hand. First of all, I think let's smooth everything. And then we also need to enable dynamic topology. One thing that I want to do here is I want to set the resolution probably to 20. Maybe let's begin with, should we begin with 50? I want to see how big 50 is. Because the mesh is so small and so intricate, maybe starting with 50 is a better option. Oh, perfect. Yeah, looks pretty good. I like it. Oh, we need to do one thing. If you see that your cursor is kind of stretched, like this one is,